We first did the Martin Luther King Memorial Library in Mies van der Rohe building. And it was amazing because that Mies van der Rohe building was in a way horrible. People really wanted to demolish it, but they were not allowed to demolish it. The ventilation was horrible. It was too hot or too cold. The acoustics were horrible. All the display of the books were where daylight was, and the people were sitting behind brick walls without daylight. The basements were the spaces for congresses were in the basement, so it was so illogical. But the building had amazing bones. So we really took the transformation of the building, understanding what are the values of Mies van der Rohe. It is, big horizontal planes, floor plans, 4 of them on top of each other. And then putting a kind of pavilion on top of it. It's really nice. It's an amazing building.
Wow. Have you been recently?
Yeah, I go there often because I'm still working in the US. So I always when I'm in New York, of course I go to the New York Public Library. But if I'm in Washington, I go to Martin Luther King Memorial Library.
Exciting. Well, we're kind of in the middle of a renovation wave here in Europe with a big focus on renovations over new constructions. Mm-hmm. Do you think that makes sense as a strategy for the EU and the world in general? And do we have the right frameworks and incentives in place, or are we maybe missing something?
We of course, anyway, we live in a very exciting and challenging time. Dealing with existing buildings, we have to deal with, but it doesn't mean that we always have to keep them. But for instance, we just did the renovation and transformation of the Nederlandsche Bank, what is the Federal Bank of the Netherlands. It's amazing what happened there. It's a kind of building from the 60s, 70s, a little bit like Mies van der Rohe by a Dutch architect at that time, and what we've done there. It's amazing. It's so beautiful in the city center along the canal houses of Amsterdam. But sometimes there's also a whole discussion that we're also working on the Boijmans Museum in Rotterdam. And there we really have to demolish one part because it's totally not functioning. It is not logic. Of course, we did try to keep it, but it didn't make sense. So we should also not be dogmatic. But of course, you always have the responsibility to first research if you can keep it.
Yeah.
It's not cheaper because also there's a lot of issues like the Nederlandsche Bank, this Netherlands Federal Bank. It had so much asbestos in it.
Wow.
Or even the museum in Rotterdam, it's full of asbestos, so we had to take it all out, of course.
Wow. Is that the biggest renovation related that sounds rough. Is that the biggest challenge you've encountered in terms of renovations, or does it get worse?
Yeah, of course, I don't know if it's the biggest or not, but it's a big challenge. Yeah. And also when you start with a building, you often don't know what you will see behind the wallpaper, what's all there. So it's difficult. But of course, we have this obligation to do it. And if not, we have to do urban mining. What can we do? What part we demolish? And I think that's extremely interesting nowadays, even with concrete. If you demolish it, how you can recycle the concrete and get, for instance, the cement out and reuse that again. There's a whole new technique and innovation about how to deal with old concrete and make new concrete out of it. So we should also, and it pushes innovation. I think that makes it extremely interesting.
For sure.
And responsible.
Do you think maybe sometimes we have to compromise on some amount of beauty? There was one Rockfon case where they wanted to reuse ceiling tiles, but they sourced them from different projects. So the whites were mismatched because there were different shades of white. Yeah. So some say that it's up for the client to kind of compromise some amount of...
Yeah, it's about compromises, and often the labor work is more expensive than the material. We have to balance it all.
For sure.
But we should also think on a marketplace. It's like how... maybe you cannot use urban mining. It's not just always bringing it back to your own building, but maybe you can do the urban mining also with tiles of ceilings. You can also bring it on we should create a market where other people can buy and use them, maybe for their own homes or whatever. So this recycling should be much more and better organized, like marketplace.
Yeah, agreed. What are your clients requesting in terms of sustainability these days, or is it mainly about meeting green building certifications?
it's different in every country, the green building codes or whatever codes you have. What we try to do is also to focus on well-being. What materials do you use? Where do they come from? Where is the glue coming from? Can you dismantle it? Can it be recycled? Of course, we should not be dogmatic about it, but I think it's interesting to make everybody much more aware about materials and health. And, you know, of course, we all worry about all these plastics, and all the plastics come with like mini plastics in the water, and we drink that. You know, how does it get into your brains? So this awareness at the end about health and how to take care of the planet, I think that's for Mecanoo the main focus. Together, otherwise it becomes just ticketing the boxes, you know.
Yes, a checklist.
So that's what we try to do, and most of our clients follow that philosophy.